Hi, I here. This is going to be a general collective reading for anyone who may be listening at this time. We're going to do a Celtic cross spread with the huge tarot deck, and what we see on the bottom of the deck is going to represent what you don't see coming. And once we get an idea of what the general message of this reading is going to be, we're going to pull 3 cards from the shadow deck to see what's going on in your subconscious and to see if there are any further clarifications we might need. So let's just see what happens. Okay. So today we're just doing a general reading for anyone that may be listening. Doesn't matter what your astrological placements are. This is a message for anyone that might need this at this time. And if this message doesn't seem to resonate with you in any way, or if nothing seems to fit your situation right now, you can always come back and watch it another time, and you might find that there's something in there that didn't stand out to you the first time. Or, of course, you can always check any of my other videos. You can check out your individual placements and see if there's messages in there. And as always, all of my videos are timeless, so, again, you can always check back to watch something you've watched before, or check out a different video, and you never know what you might find in there. There's many hours of me talking that you can always explore through and see if there's anything that stands out to you or anything that calls to you at the time. But today we're just going to do a general reading. We're just going to see what comes through. As I said, we're using the huge tarot deck, and as I've mentioned before, this is my first tarot deck that I got many years ago. And I didn't have any idea how to read tarot or really anything about it when I got it. I just thought it was a cool little deck of cards with some really nice art on it. And now, because it's my first deck, it's one that I feel very connected with, and I pull it out from time to time when I want to do messages that sort of, just hit me emotionally in a certain way. So let's see what it has for us today. Let's see what messages come through. So is there anything perhaps that we should meditate on today? What things do we need to think about? Are there any warnings that we need to see? Things we should try to move away from? Or are there things that we should perhaps try to move towards? Things that if we were to incorporate them into our lives or embrace them, might make things a little better or easier, or whatever it is that you're looking for with your life and your situation. What messages can we get today for whoever may be listening at whenever you may be listening to this? So I'm recording this during the Pisces new moon, and there's just sort of an interesting sort of aura about the air in the air today, right? The day just feels like a kind of a special day, so I wanted to do a general reading and see what comes out. So I'm curious, what will our Celtic cross say for us today? There's a certain nice positivity in the air, which is sort of refreshing. But again, whenever you may be watching this, who knows what time it is for you in your reality. But I hope there is a little bit of positivity going on around you. Hope you can sort of feel that vibe that I'm recording off of right now. So, okay. That's a lot of shuffling, but I want to make sure this is nice and seasoned before we start pulling some cards. So I think we're pretty good now. Let's see what we get. You can see my fun, awkward shuffling style, but it's what I like. It's what feels right. So, all right. So we start in the present moment with Two of Swords. So perhaps you've got some sort of decision that you need to make. Perhaps there's some crossroad that you're at, and it's not clear what the right direction is to go from here. It could be one of those situations where everything in front of you seems reasonable, if not good, and nothing stands out to you one way or the other. So perhaps you're at some sort of, you're stuck because of this. With there being no optimal solution, it's not clear what the right thing is to do, so you're just sort of left with your hands up in the air saying, well, what do I do, right? So let's see if we can get some more clarification around this with the rest of the spread. But it's an interesting energy to start on. It's a nice sort of cliffhanger to set the stage. But let's see what you might be stuck with. Four of Wands. So perhaps what you're stuck with is trying to figure out what sort of soul tribe to attach yourself to. Maybe you're trying to build a spiritual home for yourself and you're not sure what or who you want to align yourself with. Maybe there are different paths for you to take that you think are going to take you to what will inevitably build for you a different sort of home. So it's not clear whether you should go left, whether you should go right. Both of them may seem like good options, or maybe they both seem like bad options. Hopefully they're good options, but you're stuck in a position of not knowing where to go to sort of set up shop and start building the future that you want for yourself. So let's see what's going on around that. Okay, we have a King of Swords in the past, Eight of Wands, the Hermit, the Eight of Swords, the Nine of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, and a Ten of Pentacles. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so let's just take a look and see what we got here. Let's sort of take this in for a minute. So we've got a decent bit of fire and a little bit of air energy here. As far as major arcana goes, we've just got the Hermit. So yeah, I really do feel like this is a moment of sort of sitting and reflecting and really sort of taking in what's going on around you and trying to decide where you're going to go next. With the Ten of Pentacles up there, this could potentially be representative of you moving towards what you see as building your legacy. This could be moving towards a path that, as I said, we're trying to decide where to start building a sort of spiritual home. There are no walls there, but it's the pillars that you can then build upon to make what can be your castle, so to speak, in the future, and start building the life and family and, maybe it's not literal, but building some sort of home around you that you can then look at and say, like, this is what I've been putting my energy and my time and into, and what I really wanted to construct with my life and put out there in the world. And the Ten of Pentacles, a way of interpreting it in this context is it really could be the inevitable path that you take and the abundance and success that you get from that, and not just for you and your individual life, but what that success brings to the people who follow you or the people that are connected with you in some way. So it's like this is the beginning of this foundation and this is the inevitable conclusion of it. And I see all of this in the middle as really being sort of some details about what a path towards that might look like. Okay. And so, as I said, with the one major arcana being the Hermit here, this is you looking inward and trying to understand as you make sense of all the things happening around you, what's going to be best for you, what's going to breed the best future for you and those attached to you or connected with you in some way. And this is the card that is associated with the sign of Virgo. So this is very much a fertile, reflective period of trying to understand, again, what are you going to build from within? What are you going to take from your mind and your heart and the ideas that are inside of you? What seeds are you going to plant to build this future? Okay, so let's see a little bit about what's going on around this. So we're going to go through these cards one by one and see what they just sort of say about this. So as I said, we're starting in the present energy with the Two of Swords at this crossroad and not knowing where to start building, what path to take, or perhaps what plot of land, metaphorically speaking, or literal. Maybe you're building a home, actually building a physical home. But where is this going to be? Where is this location going to be? Where are you going to set up shop and start constructing? So in the past, we have the King of Swords, which is a very strong logical energy of thinking very rigidly, being very focused on facts, details, and I think this is perhaps the energy of you trying to intellectualize how to make this choice. Really trying to be as pragmatic and practical as possible by looking at all the details. And although that is a very good way to make a decision, it also can be almost distracting to the point where it's like you're looking so much at this and that and that. This needs to be this way, that needs to be that way. We need to do this, that, and the other thing. And it almost can be distracting. It can be so much air energy that you're actually losing track of, how it feels to make this decision, right? So, and again, remember, this is the Four of Wands. We're trying to build a soul home, connect with a soul tribe. This is something that is like sort of spiritual and energetic at its core. You want to make a wise choice, but you also need to make sure that you're not just looking at things from a factual point of view. Something may look really good on paper. It may sound like the best plan possible, but it may not actually be what feels right once you've actually, taken that step to pick what seems like the most optimal solution. Okay? But again, I think this is perhaps you in this moment looking at all of this in a very factual way. But perhaps as you look at this in a factual way, that's why we have the Two of Swords. Those facts seem to clash because there's no, it may not even be a distracting energy. It may not be the fact that you're focusing on so many different things. It could just be that there really is no actual logical choice to make. There's perhaps a balanced out of this is just as good as that. Okay, so perhaps the solution to trying to transcend this stuckness, this mental stuckness, is to listen more to the heart and your intuition and what feels right. So I think that's why there's this hermit energy. This is this pulling in as you're trying to make this logical choice and then trying to say, okay, now that I'm looking internally at what feels right to me, what's going to be the thing that's going to make this feel like the right sort of, what's the most intuitive call here? If we can't go by facts, what's the intuition say? And now in the future here we have the Eight of Wands. So this is a card of speed, of course. This is always a card that something's happening very quickly. But it's also a card that's related to incoming communication. So it is Mercury in Sagittarius is the astrological correspondence of this card. So there's some information that's going to come in quickly that perhaps is going to change the way that you're looking at the situation. So if you really are doing everything from a very factual point of view and everything's almost sort of stagnant and stuck because the facts aren't pointing you in the right direction, this could be some incoming thing that says at the last minute, like, you thought this was going to be the way that this would play out, and here's, a curveball that's thrown at you that completely changes the way you have to think about and approach this situation. So it's like you're pulling. This is why it's important to pull inward and see what feels right to you and not just be looking at the external facts, because these external facts could be changing at any minute. So I think this is going to be this curveball that's going to perhaps maybe that's what will get you unstuck, is that trying to do things factually is going to be broken by this new piece of information, and that might actually be a good thing because the unexpected could lead you to having more clarity on what it is that's the right thing to pursue. And this, I think, is emphasized further by the Eight of Swords being there at the top. With the Eight of Swords, this is another card that represents a sort of stiff stuckness. It's usually, you see a cage of swords around the woman that is bound there. One thing to note is she's not very tightly bound. She could easily break through those restraints, take that blindfold off, and get a little bit more clarity on what's going on around her. So I think that's why it's a positive thing that some new information is going to be coming in and changing things up. That's what's going to break this stuck Two of Swords, Eight of Swords energy that makes you feel like, I don't know, everything seems like it's equally good. I don't know what to pursue at this point. But then again, I think some surprise is going to come in, and that surprise is going to really shake the way you're framing this situation. So take the time to look at how you really feel, what you really want, what it is you want to what it is you want to construct, because the facts are going to change. So make sure you understand the underlying thing that you want to pursue rather than a strict structure of it needs to be done exactly this way. Look at the underlying idea, not the formal framing of that idea in reality, because it's not probably going to pan out, or I don't want to say not pan out, but it's not going to play out probably in the same way that you're expecting. So be adaptable, be fluid, take some mutable earth energy rather than fixed earth energy. Okay, allow for a little bit of flexibility. So here, this is fantastic. As I said, there's a positive sort of air about today, and it's coming through in this reading with the Nine of Cups. This is this sense of joy, the sense of positivity. There's an optimism here. This is also possibly representative of some sort of divine gift, not necessarily like a physical thing being given to you, but perhaps some level of energy being fueled into you that is allowing you to feel energized and ready to take on whatever difficulty this situation might be representing for you. So, whatever choice you're trying to make about where to sort of set your foundations down at this time, this is a positive attitude towards that situation, and saying that, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel pretty good that things are going to go well regardless of how they play out, which is good. This is the kind of energy that will help you break through that Eight of Swords stuckness. Because one thing about the Eight of Swords is it's a cage, but it's a cage, as I said, that is easy to break out of. So the trick to getting beyond the Eight of Swords is to just persist. But if you're feeling stuck with the Two of Swords, you're not going to persist. You're going to just give up and say, well, this is just how it's going to be. So again, there's going to probably be some new incoming information that's going to change things up. And this positive attitude together with this shakeup is what's going to allow you to take the next step forward. But of course, things will never be easy. And that's why we have an Eight of Pentacles, a card of still putting in the time and the work and the effort to produce something. So I think you're already embodying some level of that energy with the King of Swords here, but you're doing it on sort of a theoretical level. Because again, it's not clear where to start building, so everything is still just abstract thoughts on maybe on paper at best, but it's just ideas. This is taking those steps to really start putting those ideas into some action. Again, we need to be flexible and be ready for whatever changes might occur as you're building whatever this is that you're building. But if you've done the work of thinking about what it is you want to construct and how in general you want this thing to sort of what's the goal and idea behind this thing, then putting in that work and having this flexibility to take these steps forward together with this optimistic attitude, then you're going to be able to build exactly what it is that you want to build. Your answers will come to you in time. Just be persistent, be ready for changes, and keep a clear eye on whatever it is that is the sort of underlying principle of what you want to accomplish, okay? Really focus on how it feels, what it is that you emotionally are looking to get out of this, and what kind of future you want to build out of this. Because again, at the end of all of this, we're moving towards the Ten of Pentacles. This is not just a single choice of, okay, this, what am I going to have for breakfast kind of thing. This is, where do I set down roots? What is it that I need to build in order to establish a lasting version of whatever this situation may be for you. And again, it's not going to be easy. We have to put in the time. We have to check the details, make sure we're staying focused. We got Virgo energy here, so to have this Eight of Pentacles is also really that Virgo energy of really making sure that everything is done in a very detail-oriented way, that anything that could go wrong is being looked at and handled pragmatically and practically. So it's a very good blending of air and earth energy that's happening here. That mutable earth energy is very nice. Okay, so let's see. So the Ten of Wands here as the challenge is that, again, this is work. Paying attention to the details and really collecting your thoughts. It's going to be draining. So you have a Ten of Wands as the challenge here, but yeah, of course, it's going to be a burden. It's going to be hard to carry all of this weight and to maintain this persistence. As I said, the Eight of Swords stuckness is overcome through persistence, and trying to be persistent in the face of this feels like it's not going anywhere, like Two of Swords energy, that's going to be hard. But again, keep this positive attitude, keep working on the details. Don't be afraid of, how difficult this may seem in the moment. If you keep pushing forward, you'll be able to overcome this. And this period of this weight that's on your shoulders of like, oh my God, what do I do? How is this going to pan out? It will be overcome eventually. And these Four of Wands that you're setting up, these pillars that you're putting in place now, if you do the work of making sure it's done correctly, but being adaptable, that's how you're going to be able to build a more lasting version of this. Like, don't jump to a quick decision of, you're in a good place, you're like, well, this seems fine, let's do that. That's not the right attitude, right? We don't want to just give up and say, let's just take this road right now because it's the easy, happy, fun thing, and I'm tired of working on this. Keep pushing forward, keep putting the time in to keep building, adapt, adjust, but keep that positive attitude all at the same time, okay? So that's the advice I would give for whatever this situation is for you. But again, it very much feels like a period of not sure where to go, not sure what to do. But again, I think some shakeup is going to come in the near future. And as long as you're being persistent and putting in the work and keeping a positive attitude, then for the Ten of Pentacles to be the conclusion of this, that's fantastic. That's a great sort of carrot in the future to be looking towards, of this ideal version of how this can manifest in the physical world. And if you're keeping your eyes on where it is that you want to go, that is going to be something that's going to help pull you forward out of this stuckness and give you, and again, this positivity and that goal-oriented mindset will be a great way of, maintaining clarity and being able to, not just, I feel like I'm repeating it now, but just feeling stuck. We don't want to keep feeling stuck is the idea here. So, all right, so let's see what you don't see coming. Maybe it's the Eight of Wands. It's the Nine of Wands. So I guess, yeah, where does the 8 take you? It takes you to the 9. So that's, that's continuing this tough fight. I'm not saying it's literally a fight, but this is probably a difficult period. It probably is draining emotionally. It's an intense thing to have to keep feeling like you're pushing forward towards something and not knowing where it's going to go or how it's going to play out. But again, this idea of being persistent and continuing to fight even when things look difficult, keep a positive attitude. You will be able to figure out a plan that is going to allow you to overcome these burdens, right? You'll be able to step over that 10. So we have an 8 followed by a 9 followed by a 10 leading to another 10, but it's the 10 of Pentacles. So as you keep pushing forward through this difficult period, keeping up this fight, I mean, again, don't take that literally, just, keeping a positive attitude of we're going to get through this, then you're moving towards a much better future, something that you could be proud of, something you can be happy about. And it may be a challenge, but again, if you focus on where it is you want to go and you allow yourself to change in the moment, you'll find that the things that need to unfold to you will happen in the time that they need to happen. The things that you need made clear to you and the opportunities you need to achieve what it is you're trying to achieve will be presented to you when you need them. Maybe not when you want them, but they will be presented to you when you need them to get to wherever it is that you need to go. So focus on where you want to go, stay positive, and keep an attitude of flexibility, and the universe will give you the things you need, again, when you need them, not when you want them. So that's why this positive attitude is so important, because there's these frustrating times when it feels like nothing's going right. And I get the sense that you might be in that period now, but look inward, stay positive, eye on the prize, things will work out. So, all right, let's see what we have in the shadow deck here. Let's see what messages we get. Is there anything in your subconscious that could perhaps bring some clarity to this situation, or any further clarifications or things to emphasize? Let's see what we get. So I like this message. It was good. Nice practical advice, encouraging advice, and a little bit of a warning about a shakeup. Be ready for unexpected things to change your plan. That's why just having a King of Swords plan is not going to get it. It's going to get you stuck. If you try to plan out every detail, you'll never be able to plan for every detail. So plan for the underlying idea and let the details be fluid in some sense. Think about them, but let them be fluid. All right, let's do one more shuffle here. Alright, let's see what we get. We have a Ten of Wands again. We have a Knight of Wands and a King of Cups. So, with the Ten of Wands coming back in, yeah, you're definitely feeling the mental weight of the, what's going to happen here. You're trying to set up a plan. You're not seeing exactly directly where to go from moment to moment. There's this feeling of stuckness because details maybe aren't working out as you need them to, and that's going to bring some anxiety, right? So again, keep a clear idea on where it is you're trying to get to and the underlying idea, and let the details be flexible. And that flexibility is going to lighten up a little bit of that intense, heaviness that you're feeling from trying to persist through this possibly very challenging time, or maybe you're approaching this challenging time. But as things get tough, just try to be fluid with it. Try to go with the flow. Don't be whatever about things. Don't just let things be as they will. Move towards a path, but try not to let that heaviness weigh on you too heavily mentally. Because it will start to affect the way that you're actually feeling physically as well. And if that happens, then it's going to actually keep you from being able to have the same level of mental clarity that you would like to have otherwise. With the Knight of Wands, I think perhaps this burden that you're feeling from all of this pressure to make a choice is probably pushing in you this desire to just let's just get it over with, let's just make a choice, let's just go, I'm just tired of this, I want to just move forward with this. So the Knight of Wands is just whatever, I don't care what's coming ahead, let's just move forward and do what needs to be done. And that's, I don't think, the right attitude here, but it's probably the way you're feeling. So with the King of Cups over there, I think perhaps other piece of advice that this may be giving is to try and keep a check on what you're feeling. Be aware of whatever is, what you're physically feeling, and whatever emotions are sort of affecting your judgment. Make sure that you are paying attention to them. Don't let those emotions control you. Don't let those be things that make you feel inclined to make quick emotional judgments. Be adaptable, but also listen to what feels right. Again, this energy of looking inward with the Hermit, you need to pay attention to what you're feeling and really make sure that you are understanding why you're feeling what you're feeling, but also not letting those feelings run the show. Pay attention to them and, don't fully intellectualize them. Actually feel what they are trying to tell you rather than just how you think what they're trying to tell you is I don't know how to say that. Feel your feelings don't just intellectualize your feelings. Feel what they're trying to tell you and try to be able to have some level of detachment so you can use your mental energy and your emotional energy in union together. Don't just feel things and then act from that, but don't just intellectualize things and act from that. Feel them and think about what those feelings might mean, and then put those together and then use that to make good choices. And that may be hard with all of this burden that's weighing on you, but don't act quick and rashly. That's not going to allow you to move towards this more lasting future that you're trying to approach. And here, the final thing that we don't see coming is the King of Swords once again. So I think what will come in time is the clarity of how to make the right choice, whatever this is. Again, you're likely feeling stuck with the Two of Swords and the Eight of Swords energy, and you're just trying to make sense of all of this. You will eventually be able to do so, but again, Don't let your emotions run the show, but also don't detach from them entirely either. Be adaptable, go with incoming information, and try to handle the pressure as best as you can, because eventually the clarity that you seek will come. You just have to gain some sort of mastery over the adaptability and the emotional aspect of whatever this is that you're going through. So you will be able to get there, but just remember, again, don't let your emotions run you, but also don't ignore them at the same time. So that is the message I have for you. I hope this was helpful. And again, if this doesn't resonate with you now, you can always come back and listen to it another time, and maybe there's some random thing that I said along the way that'll stick out to you at some future moment that again doesn't resonate with you now. But at the very least, I do hope this was an enjoyable experience, and I hope at some point you get something, some message out of this that helps you. But that's all I have for you today. As always, please like and subscribe if you have not already. And if there are any comments or feedback you would like to provide, please leave that down below in the comment section. And if there's anyone that you think would enjoy or benefit from this or any of my other videos, please feel free to share them as you see fit. But that's all I have for you today, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.